looks like my ears get longer. Um, so I'm ready to talk about some of my feelings and memories and where should I start? Oh, when I was one. Remember the seizures I had at 1 and 5? The 5, when I had a 5 was in my sleep. Well, I realized I remember now what I got mixed up with, I guess. See, I guess strokes mixed up with seizures. And they said how this, because the nurses told Mom I was having a stroke and, when I was 5, and how I knew that was a stroke when I was 1 is because Mom took me to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital I had some seizures, bad ones. And the stroke I had was minor both times in these memories. And they gave me my mom medicine. My mom ended up throwing them away. Medicine to prevent seizures and prevent strokes. But for wasn't anyway, they were prescribed to a doctor and everything after the doctor checked me out and diagnosed me. And there were, I guess, samples of medication or something. I'm not sure. I'm sure they were samples or they were for full prescription, but I think they were samples to have them take these once a day in the meantime until you get a full prescription, and don't accept no from a answer from his primary care doctor. Don't accept no for an answer from his primary care doctor, and just keep on giving these until, and we give you more of them. But try to get hold of his primary care doctor in the meantime. And in the meantime, just skip from these. Which were samples every time Mom got medicine from the hospital. They were always samples. They were enough to be because I'm not saying all the time because I might be remembering wrong. Okay, but this time they were samples. For medication that Mom was supposed to get a full prescription on. She didn't really like the side effects, so she probably, but she knew, but I don't know what she knew. But I just remember her not being that big fan of the side effects. Or was she not a fan of me taking medication because she didn't want me to get healthier mentally? I'm not sure. Or maybe she just didn't want to take medication because it costs money. I think it was one of those last two I came up with. That's just my guess. Mom wasn't the most concerned person on my mental health. She never showed that she was the most concerned person for my mental health. Unlike Dad, who was the complete opposite. So, yeah, the 2 weeks before, when I was one, when um, was having, for 2 weeks, before that night, I had seizures, but they were minor seizures. One happened on the first one happened on my birthday, the minor seizure, and when I was had my head in cake. In my birthday cake, I had minor seizure. Did I say seizure? I meant a stroke. The times this week, if I said seizure, I meant stroke. So yeah, so I had stroke several times. 2 weeks before that night, I had a major stroke. A small had rushed me to the hospital, and so the doctors diagnosed me and stuff and all that other stuff. And so the first stroke I had was on my first birthday. I was one then, and it happened when I thought the cake was Deanna. I don't know this, but I think I had a stroke when I had a stroke before I went and put my head in the cake. I remember now. And then I started hallucinating that the cake was Deanna, and then my that collapsed in the cake. My head collapsed in the cake, and a few minutes later, and I remember, I think it was ice cream cake, marble cake, which is ice cream cake. So when I guess they cool me off, because whenever I had strokes, my head would get really hot, and because my veins would boil up. And the veins, because my veins in my head felt inflamed, all swollen and stuff, and felt like they were boiling up like lava. Basically, and so, and I also had a stroke when I was sleeping. And it happened when I was sleeping, and overnight on my first birthday, and I woke up and stopped having. That's why I'm have fears of sleeping, because of that. So I'm just saying what I remember, and as the years went on, I would have minor strokes hit me less because I was on Depakote. But when I went on off Depakote, the times I went off Depakote, my strokes hit me harder and more often. But even with on Depakote, I remember they didn't hit me as hard, but they still hit me fairly hard. But not as often, but still often, because I wasn't taking medicine to prevent strokes at all. So the good thing is I am now. This was I started taking that medicine, which is my PTSD medication, and yeah. So everything's all good. And so yeah, the one I had in my sleep, the seizure I had in my sleep when I was 5. during the time I was brain dead. Well, that wasn't seizure, as it was actually a stroke, but I got that mixed up. I got them mixed up. Oops. And I got that brain dead because I was trying to drown myself at 5, and they used adrenaline to revive me. I remember I said the gave me adrenaline to give my mom adrenaline to take care of me at home, which was basically my medicine that I was supposed to take every hour. That wasn't adrenaline, that was morphine. I just got them mixed up because I asked if adrenaline and morphine are liquid. I said and looked up until you got the so I got morphine that I was taking on a regular daily basis mixed up with adrenaline. Adrenaline. But they did give me adrenaline when they were trying to revive me, the people at the hospital. They shot me and adrenaline felt like 3 times like first of all, and shocked me my heart 6 times. It felt like it could have been more. I might have just felt the 3 times the shot drawing, or it could have been less, or it could have been more or less times he shocked my heart to revive me. But I felt the 6 jolts of electricity. 6 times 6. I felt 6 times jolts of electricity shots in my eye. So, anyway, I wasn't supposed to make it past 25 hours when I was brain dead. But so mom wanted to take me home and have me taken care at home, and because she wanted to spend that much the rest of her time with me, and she pulled AJ out of school, I remembered. So AJ could spend time with me, but Dad didn't know, and luckily she didn't tell Vinny that day. But I made it past the 25 hours. So mom called the hospital, and because she didn't know what to do, so the hospital gave her advice. Well, so they just gave her advice. I don't remember what the advice was, but yes. Eventually I made a full recovery. Obviously, after 12 months of being in that kind of condition, and during some time those 12 months, I had a stroke in my sleep. And mom called the hospital. The hospital nurses came. I assume they were nurses because they were people with white shirts and white pants and white shoes, males, and they seemed happy, that I was okay. I remember that. They asked if they had asked her if she has any. Mom asked her, "Is there anything you can do?" Well, he's having a stroke, and I mean, there's nothing you can do unless you have some sort of seizure medication or blood pressure medication or something to prevent strokes or seizures. I believe that's what they said. Because and mom said she had debit code, so and she says, and the nurse said go get debit code. So they gave me a debit code. I remember and I think they melted it. Mom melted it because the nurse told them that's what they should do, because they didn't know what other way to give it to me. So the injector, the sterilized the needle, and injected me with Depakote in my bloodstream, basically, and I don't know how long it took for me for it to kick in. I'm sure, but it felt like no time to me. Um, yeah, and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, at least I think that's what happened. I remember, yeah, still a little nauseous. I have to remember that old deed on that year 4 years ago. Yeah, because, so listening every time when I think of that, this makes me nauseous. Um, I did that at 10, 11, and 13, and 14. All of it when I was living with Dad in Dad's custody. And yeah, that's all I gotta. That doesn't want to melt to the Devico somehow. I don't know how she did it. I think she said she put it in the microwave, or I don't know what she did. I don't know. I just guess you figure it out. At least I think that's what happened. But I could be wrong. Maybe Mom, or Mom got the Devico, but I know I'm right about the rest. Mom could have gotten the debit code, and actually, Mom did got the debit code, but then she realized, then I guess she found the nurses, had some sort of medication to make me feel better that works for, strokes. Works good with strokes. I think that's what happened. It's been a long night. That's all.